So I had a film breakdown prepared today, but I'm actually going to go a different direction. This is a rant because we have to talk about the state of this Indiana Fever team, and I'm here to bring the reality to all you Fever fans. This team is not a championship team. They're not a championship team. They're nowhere near close to a championship team because every team that is a championship team can play defense. This Indiana Fever team has no defense, and that's like the farthest of their problems. Their offense looked really bad today, and Caitlin Clark obviously didn't shoot the basketball well, but I'm not going to blame this loss on Caitlin Clark, even though obviously they would have won if she would have shot the ball well. My whole thing is you were up when Caitlin Clark wasn't shooting the ball well. You had a double-digit lead in that first half while Caitlin Clark was clanking every single three. She was 2 for 9 from the field, and you were still confidently beating this Aces team. The reason you lost was not because Caitlin Clark didn't score the basketball. The reason you lost is because you stopped doing what was working. What worked for the Indiana Fever, especially in that first half, was a pick and roll with Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. All you have to do is have a pick and roll at the top of the key. Off that pick and roll, 2 defenders are going to go with Caitlin Clark, leaving Aaliyah Boston to have a wide open lane. That is just the play you should go to every single possession. But how come we never go to it in back-to-back possession? We'll go to it one possession, the next possession we don't go to it. Why not? Stephanie White, why not? It always works. 2 defenders are always going to go with Caitlin Clark. There should never be a play where Caitlin Clark brings the ball up the court and then she passes it and she runs off the playoff ball. Every single possession, there should be a screen, whether it be a Leah Boston, whether it be a Kelsey Mitchell who's going to cut, whether it be a Natasha Howard, literally any player. They set Caitlin Clark a screen at the top of the key, and off that, your whole offense should function. I don't care what Stephanie White wants to do with this motion offense thing. Literally, all you have to do every single time you have a practice is worry about what to do after the double team. That should be your whole offense. Your whole offense should be screen at the top of the key, and then we have a whole bunch of sets, which is setting us up to score in different scenarios after that double team. Because Caitlin Clark is always going to get double teamed off a screen with any player. Use that to your advantage. You never see the Golden State Warriors not using Steph Curry's gravity to their advantage. So how come you always see the Indiana Fever never using Caitlin Clark's gravity to their advantage? Caitlin Clark oftentimes will bring the ball up the court more than when she actually receives a screen. She passes the ball, doesn't even receive a screen, runs the playoff ball, then gets the ball back when it's like 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Who wants to see that? Nobody. Caitlin Clark fans don't want to see that. Caitlin Clark doesn't want to see that because that's not her game. Nobody wants that. Have a high ball screen with Caitlin Clark and somebody every single possession. It was working so well in the first half. So how come we totally went away from it in the second half? Was it because of the couple turnovers Caitlin Clark got? She might have had maybe 2-3 turnovers in a stretch in the game when they were trying to go to Aaliyah Boston. So does that justify you not going to what got her 6-7 assists in the first quarter? No, it doesn't. You go to it every single possession because it works. I kept saying it in the live stream today, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So how come every single time the Indiana Fever have something that's working, whether it might be the pick and roll like it was in this game, whether it be running the floor like it was in this game, because early on they were faster than they were later on in this game. They always have things that are working. They always have players who are hot that they don't go to. Like Caitlin Clark might have 9 points in a 38-second stretch, and then you'll see them come out in the next quarter and not give her the basketball. You'll see them bench her. Why do we do this? When you have momentum, when you have a lead, you need to continue doing that, and that's going to win you the game. Obviously, the other team is going to adjust, but when the other team adjusts, that does not mean you totally stop attacking the flaw that the other team has on defense. Okay, yes, they tried to stop Aaliyah Boston from getting the ball on the low post in this game, but she should have just found another way to try to get her the basketball because there's no reason she should have 18 points in the first half and 8 in the second half. She had nearly 20 in the first half. She ends off with 26 points. How come Aaliyah Boston was on pace for a legacy game and then we stopped giving her the basketball? How come Kelsey Mitchell went on a crazy stretch in that third to fourth quarter where she was hitting some big time shots and then you didn't even see her getting the ball anymore down the stretch? How come early on in the game you were playing decent defense interior wise against the Aces and then you decided to just allow them to get right by you and get easy layups at the cup every single time? How come we keep doing this? Do you want to win a championship or do you want to just be a mediocre team? Because right now the Indiana Fever are going to make the playoffs. They're probably going to win their next game. They can win games. They can compete with these teams as long as they can pull it off offensively. But is that going to win them a championship? No, it's not going to win you a championship. You can't win a championship without defense, for one, because this Indiana Fever team has absolutely none, man. They always allow the other team to beat them in the paint, man. I say it in every single one of my videos, but we have no interior defense. None. Every single team this Indiana Fever team plays gets infinite points in the paint. It needs to be worked on, but what can you do? Like, all you can really do is bring in players who can actually play interior defense. There's nothing you can do with the personnel you have now. Aaliyah Boston, you can't make her into a defender that is going to be able to guard a player like a Jonquel Jones. She cannot defend without fouling. Yes, the refs suck. Yes, the refs are incompetent. They call crazy fouls on Aaliyah Boston, but she gives them fouls to call. She always is touchy. She can't defend without fouling. She just can't do it. Natasha Howard is just weak. Just to be real with you, Natasha Howard just can't play interior defense. She's too small, too weak, not enough IQ. She just can't do it. DeWanna Bonner is in the same boat, just too weak. We haven't seen her out there, but she can't do it. Damaris Dantas can play interior defense. She's the best interior defender on the team, besides the Michaela Timpson, who never gets in the game. But Damaris Dantas can't play with Aaliyah Boston. They're too big. They're too bulky to play together. So the Indiana Fever can't really fix their interior defense, which is why this Indiana Fever team is probably not going to win a championship. Unless your offense reaches this next level to where Caitlin Clark is able to score 30 points every game and Kelsey Mitchell's back to that 25 point per game, Kelsey Mitchell every single game, this team won't win. And even if Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell combine for 60 and Aaliyah Boston gives you 20, that's not going to win you a game if you can't get stops. And if when you play against the New York Liberty, Sabrina Ionescu puts up 40 and Jonquel Jones puts up 30, it's not going to make any difference no matter how many points you score if it's still a close game at the end of a quarter where you scored 60. It doesn't matter because you're allowing the other team to do exactly what you do. And eventually, when your shot stops falling, you're not able to get any stops. When the Indiana Fever finally start missing shots, like in all of these games, like in this past game against the Valkyries, in this game against the Aces, you have stretches where you go cold. And in those stretches, the Indiana Fever totally lose everything because their whole game is dependent upon them scoring the basketball. It is not dependent upon them getting stops because they don't get stops regardless. So you just have to assume they're going to allow the other team to get right by them. That's just a given. You have to win by totally outscoring the other team. And when that doesn't work and you realize you're not the greatest offensive WNBA team in the world, your whole game plan falls apart. Literally, the Indiana Fever, their whole game plan is dependent upon literal perfection. You have to be perfect offensively. You have to just score all the points. Caitlin Clark has to have 40. If Caitlin Clark has a bad game, oh no, we're not going to win because we can't get stopped on the other team. And so if Caitlin Clark doesn't make 70% of her shots, the other team will, so we're not going to win. That's a horrible game plan to have, but it's always what the Indiana Fever have to resort to because they have no defense. If you don't have defense, you won't win games. I'm not even sure what this team is we came up with. I thought DeWanna Bonner was going to be good for this team. I thought Natasha Howard was going to be good for this team. I thought Sydney Colson was going to be good for this team. I was mistaken. I was misled just like all of you were. I hadn't watched any WNBA basketball. I didn't know these players. I was just told they were future Hall of Famers that were going to help this team. They are the worst additions you could have possibly added to this team. Players who have no interior defense, who are old and slow. Why do we add them to the team? This Fever team is not too promising, and there are times where they feel worse than last year. There were times last year where this team was 10 times more exciting than they are right now. At the end of last year, that team was 10 times better than what we see from the Indiana Fever right now. And it's a shame because, yeah, Caitlin Clark did have a bad game today, and she can have a better game, and if she does, then you can probably win some of these games. But at the end of the day, you're not going to be a contender. You're not going to be winning a championship this year because you have no defense, because the offensive system sucks, because you don't go to what works, and you run this motion offense where Caitlin Clark is iced out, running around, and she's not actually getting the ball. She's not actually going one-on-one. She's not actually running a pick and roll with Aaliyah Boston, which is not allowing Aaliyah Boston to get hot. So Aaliyah Boston isn't scoring 20 points either. It's just sucky. It sucks how this team is playing right now. Nobody really is playing the role that they play best. Kelsey Mitchell is best when she's playing off ball, catch and shoot, cut back door, easy layups. She's not even doing much of that these days. She's just shooting it off the dribble. Caitlin Clark is best with the ball in her hands, off a pick and roll, finding Aaliyah Boston on the short roll, or just going to work dancing at the top of the key. You're not even seeing much of that. You're seeing Caitlin Clark get the ball with 8 seconds left on the shot clock because she brought it up the court, but then gave it to Sydney Colson at the 17-second mark. Why did you give it to Sydney Colson for her to run around and then you get the ball back? What? Aaliyah Boston obviously isn't able to do what she wants to do because to do what she wants to do, she needs to be setting a screen for Caitlin Clark. Off that screen, 2 defenders go with Caitlin. She gets open lanes, open mid-range shots. You're not even going to that for the most of the game. Like early on in this game, you had a stretch where the Indiana Fever continuously went to the Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark pick and roll. But even when they were going to it, there were plays in between where they weren't. Why is there ever a play where we're not setting a screen for Caitlin Clark by Aaliyah Boston? Why would you ever do that when it's such a cheat code? It's been working since last year, dude. Why not? Why not do what works? Why not go to what works? Is it because we're trying to get other people involved and not seem like we're trying to just use Caitlin Clark as if she's not the best player on the team? Because she is. She is the best player on the team. So if you have a cheat code with the best player on the team, if you know every single time when she comes off a screen, 2 defenders are going to go with her, or if they don't go with her, she's going to be able to dance around and go for a one-on-one, easy 3-point jump shot, why would you not go to that? Either you're just an idiotic coach who does not know what they're doing, or you're trying to ice Caitlin Clark out of the game and get other people involved so it'll seem like you have a good ecosystem of players who are involved in these games and that Caitlin Clark isn't just the great savior of this team. I just don't get it. It's annoying. I'm tired of it. The Indiana Fever are losing games they should be winning right now, and a lot of it has to do with their game plan. And obviously, a lot of it has to do with Caitlin Clark missing shots. She missed shots in this game, and I will not give her the benefit of the doubt. She's got to make those shots. But at the end of the day, once again, they were up in this game even while Caitlin Clark was bricking. She's not the reason you lost. You should have won this game with her bricking. You were up double digits, and she was bricking from the beginning. You lost because you gave it up. You lost because you did not attack what worked. You lost because you iced Caitlin Clark out. You lost because you have no interior defense. You lost because of bad coaching. It's coaching. That's all it is. The whole game plan for this Indiana Fever team offensively should literally be what to do after the double team. That's it. What to do after a double team. Off the pick and roll with Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, there's a double team, and then you give the ball to Aaliyah Boston. And if the defensive help does not come, Aaliyah Boston has a wide open layup. So off that double team with Caitlin Clark, you get a wide open layup with Aaliyah Boston. Or say when you get that pass to Aaliyah Boston, more defensive help comes on Aaliyah Boston. Then off that double team, I'm training Aaliyah Boston what to do, what passes to make. Learn how to play off the double team. That's it. It is the #1 cheat code for this Fever team. There's no other team that is always going to get a guaranteed double team. So learn how to use it to your advantage. But for some reason, we're not even setting screens. For some reason, we're not even having the high ball screen with Caitlin and Aaliyah Boston. Why is that the case, man? It's so annoying. And I was going to break down some film. I got some film together, and I decided to just do a rant, man. The NBA Finals game is about to come on in like 20 minutes. You know, I'm just ranting today because there's no way I'm about to get back into that dirty, disgusting film. I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of making these negative videos on the Indiana Fever. Show me something fun. Give me a win. Give me something to be excited about. That's what we want, man. We don't want to see this team play well in the first half, and then every single third quarter, this team just gives up the lead. Nobody wants to see that. Let's just keep it real over here, man. The Indiana Fever are not contenders right now because, for one, their game plan sucks. For two, they have no interior defense. And if Caitlin Clark is not looking like the GOAT WNBA player out there in every single game, you don't even have a chance to win. So, yeah, I'm out, man. Peace out.